In this video, we're going to be having a look at a financial maths question. Now, before I get into the question, one advice that I'll give you as when you're doing financial maths is to make sure that you understand the question. And the easy way that I always do when I'm reading questions in financial maths is to always assume that I'm the person in the scenario, right? So before we get into the first question, firstly, I wanted to share some great news. We finally reached 1,000 subscribers, so thank you so much to everyone who've been watching and all the ones who've been basically sharing and the ones who have subscribed. The ones who've been watching and that haven't subscribed, please make sure that you also give yourself time to actually click that subscribe button. And also to the new ones, welcome. And also don't forget to also subscribe so that you won't miss when these videos get uploaded. Also, this one, at the end of this video, please, if there's anything that you found valuable or if there's anything that you would like to share, please by all means leave that in the comment section. And of course, share this with your friends also. So without wasting any more time, let's jump straight into the question. So starting off, we have 1.1, but just like in any other videos, you can jump off to the question that you desire. So the 1.1 question here, it goes like this. So Daniel deposits a sum of money into the savings account. The bank offers an interest rate of 5% compounded monthly. Now calculate the effective interest rate that Daniel receives. Okay, so now in this question, this is an effective and nominal question. So now if the question asks you to calculate effective, then it means that the interest that you've been given, it becomes a nominal, right? So in this case here, I can see that this is going to be my nominal interest. So 1.1 here will then be 1 plus I effective, which is the formula, I effective equals to 1 plus I nominal over compound into the compound. All right, now another trick that I'll teach you right now is whenever you're doing the questions in the financial maths, always start off by basically making what you want to solve the subject of the formula. In this case, we want to solve effective, so I'm going to make that subject of the formula. And then from here, all I need to do is to substitute once, and then that's it. All right, also notice that when I'm substituting on my interest, I'm using the percentage here. All right, now with M here, if you remember the compound here, it was said it is compounded monthly, so which means M it is going to be 12 minus 1. So we're going to press this into a calculator and see what the calculator gives us. Okay, so now here we have 1 plus 5% over 12 to the power of 12 minus 1. Now watch how I pressed it. Make sure that you put the percentage. If you're wondering how I press the percentage, so you basically press shift and then you see this bracket here, and then it gives the percentage. So the calculator knows that by putting the percentage, you're saying 5 over 100, right? So I don't like to write the 100 there. But then once you get this, what you do, remember we talk about interest, right? So you need to then times it back by 100. So it will give you that. And in this case, we have 5.12%. So this is 5.12%. All right, now let's go ahead and look into the question that we were here for, which is the annuity. So here, a bank granted Matome a home loan of 800,000 rands when he started working some years ago. The loan was to be paid over a period of 25 years. The rate of interest of the loan was 10.75% per annum compounded monthly. All right, reading the instruction is very important to understand. Let's say you are Matome, right? Let's say you are Matome and then you're getting a loan, right? Or you're applying for a loan. So when you're applying for a loan, you're expecting the money to get it, or you're expecting the bank to give you the money now, right? Which is in the present tense. So because of that, this means now this scenario, it is a present value scenario. So this will then mean now the bank gives me 800,000 rand, right? And then they tell me that I have the number of years, right, to pay, which is 25 years. And then they tell me that the compound, the repayments that I'm going to be making are going to be monthly. So every month I'm going to be making the payment. And then this means now if I have 25 years and every month I'm paying the installment, then it means the repayments will be, the total amount of repayments is 25 times 12. Now notice that N is not a number of years. N here in this case is the number of repayments. In the future value, it is the number of deposits. Okay. And then here the interest, of course, it is 10.75%, but this is per year. But then if I want to find it monthly, I then need to divide this by my compound, which is 12. then that is why we have that like that. Okay, so let's go ahead now and look into the first question. So the first question, it says here, Matome made his first repayment 1 month after the loan was granted, and he continued to make monthly repayments thereafter. So calculate Matome's monthly repayments. So to calculate Matome's monthly repayments, it means we need to find X here, right? So to find X, I'm going to use the formula 1 minus 1 plus I into minus n over I. All right, now what is another key thing, or what is another method that you should always take into account when you're dealing with these type of questions? Like I said here, we want to find monthly repayments, right? So how much is it basically? So we want to solve for X. So because if we want to solve for X, we need to solve for X first here by isolating it. So how do we do that? So we always start with the denominator by cross multiplying that side. And then this gives us this. And then we have 1 plus I to minus n. And then from here, I just divide the whole thing that is next to X, both sides, right? So by having this, I can then cancel this, and then I'll have X. So I just want to write X first, right? So X is going to be equals to 1 minus 1 plus I to minus n. Okay, then from here, the only thing that I have to do here is to substitute ones. Now watch, when I'm substituting, you see here I'm putting a bracket, so make sure that you put in that bracket, right? So I have the interest of that, and then how much is the loan? 800,000 over 1 minus 1 plus 10.75% over 12 into minus, if you remember here we had 25 times 12, so in the calculator that should be 300. So we have minus 300. So yeah, then when I press this one time, see here you don't have to like type it twice, like pressing it over and over again and writing all those numbers that are long. So you're only going to do it once. So let's go ahead and do that. Notice that I press here the fraction at the top, and then the bracket, and then here 10.75% over 12. Don't forget to put in that percent, because once you take it out, it will give you an answer that is way off. So we have 800,000, 1 minus 1 plus fraction 10.75 shift percent. All right. And again, it's up to you actually if you want to put percent or you want to make it over 100. Yeah, I just like to keep it like that. Okay, so the answer is 7,696 rand. 696 rand, comma 74 cents. Okay, so these are my monthly repayments, right? All right. Now, next question. Matome continued to make monthly repayments. Now calculate the outstanding balance immediately after making the 204th repayment. Okay, so outstanding balance has a formula. So outstanding balance, it has a compound formula. I'm going to explain the compound right now, minus the future value. 1 plus I into n minus 1 over I. Okay, so let's go ahead and explain exactly how this thing works. First of all, you won't get this in the formula sheet, so you must be able to remember it, right? It's a compound minus future value, right? Now, in this compound, this value for P, it is the loan that they gave you, right? So in this case, it is the 800,000 rand. Then of course, this is interest, so I won't say much. Now in N here, this is the number of payments that the bank is expecting that you should have made by now, right? So in this case, we're saying after 204th payment. So it means now the bank here is expecting that Matome should have made those 240th payment, right? So it means what? So I'll say here, these are the number of payments, right, that the bank expected, right? Then what about this N then? If I'm saying this is the number of payments that the bank is expected, now this N here, it then becomes the number of payments that you made, right? So I'll say payments I made, right? This is what the bank expects. This is what I've made, right? And then now, of course, X here, it is my monthly payments and all of that. Now, this is very important for you to understand it, because in the other questions, you will notice that the bank will expect you that by now you should have made 240th payment, but you have already made 220th. So there are scenarios like that. Okay. So how do we then calculate our outstanding balance? So basically now the outstanding balance will be, in this case, the bank gave us 800,000 rands, 1 plus the interest didn't change over 12, right? And then the number of payments that the bank is expect that we should have made by now, it is 240, right? Now notice that I'm saying we, because I'm trying to make it as if I'm in this scenario. Here the payments that we're making, it is 7,696, 74 cents. And then here I'm gonna try to squeeze this in 10.75% percent over 12 into 240 minus 1. Let me squeeze that. All right, so this is 240, okay? And then over 10.75%, of course, over 12. Okay, so now the outstanding balance, now let's see. So it will be 800,000 into 1 plus 10.75% over 12 into 240 minus 7696.74 into 1 plus 10.75% over 12 into 240 minus 1, 10.75% for 12. So this gives me 356,036, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check. Yes, 0.2020 cent. All right, so this is the outstanding balance now. Now notice that 240th payment is like 20 years later now, right? This is 20 years later. Okay, so let's go ahead now and look into the third question. So the third question here, it says, after making the payments for the full 20 years, Matome lost his job and missed the next 6 monthly repayments. He then found another job and resumed his monthly repayments. However, Matome started paying 9,000 monthly instead of the required amount. Now, did Matome settle the loan in the original amount in the original repayment period? Justify your answer with relevant calculations. All right. So here, what's happening is that after the 20 years, Matome lost his job. And then because you've lost your job, it means you won't be able to pay, right? So when you're not paying, what does the bank do? So the bank, basically what they do is, the outstanding balance that they have, they basically charge interest on it, right? How do they do that? They do that using a compound interest. So now what we need to do first here is, we need to take into account that Matome here lost his job and then missed the next 6 monthly repayments. So if I would lose my job and not pay the next 6 months, how much will be my new loan? Now, to get the new outstanding balance, what we will do is, we'll take the old outstanding balance and then compound that into the number of payments missed. So now this one here, these are the payments missed, how many times you've missed the payments. All right, so now the old outstanding balance is 036 into 1 plus interest is still the same, right, over 12. And then how many payments did I miss now? Remember, I didn't pay for the next 6 months, so it means it is 6. And then now this will then mean, let me see here, this is 036.20, so it means now the the new outstanding balance will then be 0.20 to 1 plus 10.75% over 12 to the power of 6. So it will become 375. So 375 606.89. So this will be my new outstanding balance, right? So now from here, after knowing that this is new outstanding balance, it means now it's after that 6 months now. So it's 20 years, right? And then after the 6 months, so now their bank right now, the bank is expecting or thinks that I have made 246 payments by now. So it means now I'm left with how many payments left? So this is going to be 54 payments left to fill in the whole 25 years, right? Okay. Now, how do I know this is 54? If you're asking, remember earlier, we had 300 payments or 300 repayments that we're expecting to make, right? Or 300, the number of times that we're supposed to make the repayments are or were 300, but then now so far we made 240, but then after that we missed 6 payments, so now it means now it's 246. Now to finish all that 25 years, it means we have 24 repayments left. Okay, now it's past that 6 months, got another job, then I want to resume making the payment. But then now I decide that, you know what, actually I'm good now, right? I'm moneyed. I can pay actually way more than that $7,000 paying. So now how much what do I want to pay now? It's 9K. So if I want to pay 9K now, what is it that I have? So it means now here I'm saying that, so let me write this, after 6 months, after 20 years and 6 months, this is what I'm deciding, right? I'm deciding that, okay, I want to pay 9K, 9,000, right? And then now I've checked my loan now. Then they're saying that actually you still owe us 375,606.89, right? And then another thing is still the same. The compound is still 12, right? And then the interest, it is still 10.75% over 12. All right. Then now I want to know how many payments I'm going to make now that I've made this decision, right? So now to get that, what we're going to do is we're going to use the present value formula. So it's going to be x into 1 minus 1 plus I to minus n over I. Then now here again, what do I want? I want to find n. So I want to isolate n. So how do I do that? Always start by cross multiplying the one at the bottom. PV, that is x into 1 minus 1 plus I minus n. Now previously we divided this whole part, but then now because of we want something there, it means we need to divide by x. So we cancel this with that. So I have I times PV over x equals to 1 minus 1 plus I to minus n. So I need this one as substitute the formula, so I'm taking that side, whereas I'm taking this one to this side. So when I do that, it becomes 1 plus I minus n. Remember it was negative here, so now when it goes across, the equal sign becomes positive. And then on my left hand side I had 1, so I take this one across, so it becomes negative. So hence I have that minus PV over it is x. Yes, now I need to find the power, so I have an exponent, so therefore it means I will say minus n, which is what I need to find, is going to be log, and then the base, it will be 1 plus I, and then into this I times PV over x. All right, then now here, therefore if I divide by n here, then this will be, if I divide by negative, it will be then negative log 1 plus I into 1 minus I times PV over x. Now let's go ahead and substitute here. So now that I have this, the only thing that I gotta do now is to substitute 10.75% over 12 into 1 minus 10.75% over 12 times, remember my loan, it was 375. Let me see if I can squeeze that there. 606. All right, 2.89 close over 9,000, and then close that one. So let's go ahead and press this into a calculator and see what we get. Now, pressing this into a calculator, when I first say minus and then plus log, and then we put in there 1 plus 10.75. Remember, it is percent over 12. Now, the nice thing about this is I'm only going to press this thing once and I'm going to be done with it. Minus 10.75% over 12 into 375,606.89 close bracket over 9,000. Press answer. So my answer for n, it is 52,50, right? Or I'm gonna say 5. Now, what does this mean? And what does this answer mean? So basically, what this answer means is that, remember, in order for me to complete that 5 years, right, I needed to make 54 more repayments. But then with the 9,000 that I decided to make, to pay instead of that 7,000 something, I ended up finishing this off with making 52.5 payments, right? So this then means now I managed to settle the loan because this is less than 54, so it means I managed to settle the loan in the original repayment amount. So because of that, this then means now the answer will then be yes, and that is how we get into our final answer. And that's it for this video. Again, this was just me going through the explanations. Now I hope you found something valuable. If there's anything that you wanted to share with me, please leave that in a comment. And with that being said, I'm going to see you into the next video where we're discussing more interesting stuff, and I'll see you to that one. Cheers.